I've been looking forward to having our guest on. I mean, it's obviously been a very chaotic few weeks, so things have really obviously taken an interesting turn in this country. But there is one thing that is very important to me personally, something that I believe every family has been affected from right now, and that, of course, is the leading cause of death in America right now from the ages of 18 to 45, and that, of course, is the fentanyl crisis. But Jaclyn, you have been a part of this new campaign that I think is very important. It was one that when President Trump started really talking about this crisis, I was encouraged. It obviously comes after a lot of us have experienced personal loss from this, but at least steps are being made.
Yes, thank you for having me. This is a very serious crisis, and our president could not turn away from this very big issue of children dying. And as you just said, between the ages of 18 to 45, this is a leading cause of death. And, on day one of his presidency, he had a mission to save American lives. He could not turn away of these mothers coming to him crying of, I found my son dead in the bedroom. These kids often don't know that these are counterfeit pills. This is often accidental overdoses. Taking these pills they think are a Xanax or an Adderall and, laced with grains of fentanyl, and instantly they die. They stop breathing and die.
Why was it important for you to join this, and how did that happen as well? Because I think it's great that this commission is happening, that this whole campaign is happening. You're out there. I've seen you on the road doing this because it is so important. But why is it personal to you? I know you have kids. You have people that are dealing with a lot of situations where it's just it's really tough. You walk around some of these major cities and you see half the ads are make sure to test your drugs, like they're promoting things like this. And sadly now that's become the norm. But hopefully what you are all doing is going to be reversing the course completely.
Yes. I'm a mother of three. Any parent, wants to make sure your kids go off to child. I think I read somewhere that they have these actual test kits. They're giving kids at colleges. Some of the parents were sending their kids off to college, giving them a test kit to check for fentanyl in their drugs. And you're hearing about this so often. And any parent wants to make sure your kids goes to school and gets an education, is not going to accidentally overdose. I've had friends and family pass away. I've had parents telling me, I had to resuscitate my son in the front yard as he's vomiting. And it's just these horrific stories. And it's happening too frequently. And President Trump, under his amazing leadership, is, doing exactly what he said he was going to do, control the border, hold these drug dealers accountable. But this campaign is intended to spread awareness to the dangers to these children, the dangers of fentanyl, and how easy it is to overdose. What you think you're taking is not, and no drugs are good for you. But these drug dealers have really gotten very, shrewd and clever with ways of getting this cheap drug out into the streets. So he's working really hard. There's still a lot of work to do. But if we could just start talking about it in the schools and churches, everyone knows about the opioid crisis and knows someone directly or indirectly that's been affected by it or has passed away from it.
Well, and I think that's maybe one of the big misconceptions that are out there, is that a lot of people have heard about how lethal fentanyl is, but they still kind of think of it maybe as something that happens in a big city
on the streets,
and similar to like the heroin crisis, where yes, I understand that these very powerful drugs exist and that people can overdose from that, but that it's not affecting what high schoolers may experiment with or do things that they shouldn't be doing. But they're not realizing that this crisis is affecting suburban high schoolers and people in college. It's not in the seedy underbelly of the urban centers of our country. It affects everyone and can affect everyone lethally.
Yes, that's right. And exactly what you said. It's not that stereotypical person you see on the side of the streets that's struggling. Yes, they matter. But these are children that, are going to these house parties or, buying a pill from a friend. They don't intend to take their lives. This is accidental and they don't know. And, also on social media, there's these new ways on Snapchat, these kids are learning this type of secret code word and languages where they're buying pills from these dealers on the social media. And so we've got to put a stop to this. These lives matter, and our president is really trying to tackle this issue. It takes a village, and there's a lot involved in this, and we're grateful for this privately funded multi-million-dollar campaign, Make America Fentanyl Free. And there's resources on the website, but we've got a lot of work to do, and I thank you guys for helping us get the message out there.
Yeah, whatever you need from us, we're all on board, because this is very important to us specifically, and we've talked privately about that, and this is something that I really want to make sure that our audience gets behind, understands the seriousness of it, and it's not, Will, as you said, just an issue that's happening, like you said, in sort of downtown areas, happening with the unhoused homeless population. This is happening everywhere. Like you said, the number one cause of death, and it can be easily stopped. Maybe not easily, but with people like you involved, it can. I have to say also, the ad campaign that's running is phenomenal. The ads, if you haven't seen them, they are incredibly powerful. So Jaclyn, I just want to say thank you. We'll make sure we link everything to promote this campaign. This is one of those moments, Will, where I'm excited when we have President Trump taking action on something that we've known for years was a problem.
That's right. This is something that has been talked about, but I feel like the action to explain to the people of our country about how it can affect them personally has been lost. That there was that disconnect, but this is kind of a new way to, one, reach the people, as well as make everyone aware, whether it be grandparents all the way down to people that are in school, be able to understand the real dangers of this. And while we are doing things on the border to try and stop it coming in this country, we also know how much is already here and how real that danger is.
That's right. Go check out those ads. Check out all the great content. MakeAmericaFentanylFree.com is where you can find everything.